popularity and the video game market in general can be quite fickle. Sometimes a game comes out and it's off people's radar within a month, 6 months, a year. Sometimes a game comes out and it is a never-ending bountiful bounty of beautiful, bodacious things. Does that make sense? Most of the time those are massively multiplayer online role-playing games. MMOs tend to stick around in the marketplace for a long time, with regular updates and upgrades to the things that players can do, interact with and see. But occasionally non-MMORPGs slip through the cracks of time and space and stick around for years upon years. It's not very common for a game to have a huge player base 10 years after its release, but it's not impossible. So I'm Sam from R-CADE Glasgow, and today we're looking at the top 5 video games with the longest lifespan, not including MMORPGs. Number 5, Terraria. In a 9-year run, Terraria has sold over 35 million copies and is still being played today. Sure, it's kind of like the hipster version of a game we're going to cover much later on in this video, but it was one of the most popular games with young kids in R-CADE Glasgow pre-pandemic. A 2D sandbox, the main goal for players is clear. Survive, build, and have fun. God, I love being in marketing. Craft weapons and equipment as a 16-bit sprite inspired by SNES games of the past. Increase health and mana power through an ever-expanding procedurally generated world, clambering through caves and caverns trying to find the most precious of metallic ores. It's not only foraging and collecting, but also survival. Fight off a myriad of enemies depending on the time of day, the region that you're based in, and the season. Also included in Terraria are a number of optional boss battles, unlocked by completing certain tasks and reaching certain levels within the game. Sadly, the main reason that Terraria has stuck around in the minds of fans since its 2011 release is the lack of any forthcoming follow-up by the developers Relogic. After 2 previous sequels have already been cancelled, the latter due to not living up to the lofty standards of the original game, it seems as though fans will have to make do with what they have for eternity. Number 4, Left 4 Dead 2. Launching in 2009 with Microsoft exclusivity, Left 4 Dead 2 would eventually move onto both Mac OS and Linux, and to this day has over 30,000 unique players on a monthly basis via Steam. Quite an impressive retention level, given that their all-time peak was about 161,000 on Steam in 2013. Part of the success is the very co-op focused nature of the game, priding itself as one of the #1 PvE multiplayers in the market to this day. As one of 4 survivors, your task, nay necessity, is to do everything in your power to escape a variety of scenarios where a large horde of zombies, in this world listed as infected, try to get at you. Jump from safe house to safe house, collecting all of the melee weapons necessary to batter your way to safety, as well as some heavy-duty firearms. Unique to the challenge of Left 4 Dead 2 is its AI director, which makes on-the-fly alterations to the levels in front of you depending on how good or poorly you are completing the level. It changes and updates the spawn levels and locations of a variety of different subcategories of zombie to keep the player on their toes and having the most challenging gameplay possible without making it so hard you're not enjoying yourself. It's not all doom and gloom from the AI though, as sometimes it instead provides players with brand new ammunition and toys to play with. Whether it be boomers, hunters or jockeys, you can still jump into a game today and take on the hordes upon hordes of zombies with their own artificial intelligence. Number 3, Skyrim. Most people in the world of video games have at least heard of, if not played, Skyrim. I myself played it for about 3 hours and then was punched through a tree by a bear, upon which I found out I hadn't saved in a long time and never picked up again. Still haven't been able to watch We Bear Bears. You play as an adventurer who starts their video game life as a prisoner of the Imperial Army on their way to their own execution. Said execution never happened though, as proceedings were interrupted by the dragon Alduin. Not long after, you discover you are Dragonborn, of human body and flesh, but of dragon soul and blood. Travel the land of Skyrim, meeting people from near and far as you make friends and enemies for life, all while attempting to vanquish Alduin. While Skyrim launched in 2011, just 5 years after its predecessor Oblivion, the game has stuck around for almost 10 years now. With more than 25,000 unique players on Steam alone to this day, the game remains a favourite for fans to get lost in, with a large expansive world and great levels of replayability. Will you be a conniving cat person or a law-abiding dark elf? Or is that oxymoronic? With blog posts and written articles stretching back to 2015, today in 2021 I can answer the question. Yes, Skyrim is still being played and it's just as good as it ever was. While Elder Scrolls 6 was announced at E3 2018, no release date has been announced since. So I'd hold on to your copies of Skyrim a little bit longer, kiddos. Number 2, Minecraft. We talked about Terraria, now it's time to talk about their 3D older sibling. Developed by Notch Person and his production studio Mojang, the game is officially the highest selling video game of all time, with over 200 million copies sold across a variety of different platforms. Not only that, but for the purposes of this list, in 2020 the game still got 126 unique players on an annual basis. Do I even need to explain what Minecraft is? You are a big blocky character exploring a big blocky world, interacting with big blocky NPCs and big blocky animals in the midst of your quest to build the most impressive big blocky structures. The game is heralded for just how deep you can go with what seems to be a simple concept by modern standards. If you're boring like me, you just want to jump in and annoy a couple of villagers, or you can go the extra mile and build an entire working computer from the elements that are provided in the Minecraft world. Or of course, you could mod the game so that you can quite literally play Pokemon on it. Not like but like catching Pokemon that roam the world freely. God, I'm so upset I've got to play Pixelmon. With most fans owning the game on a variety of different platforms, serene music and picturesque peaceful landscapes provide a wonderful environment to get lost in for a couple of hours. More importantly, there is an infinitum of options to keep the game going till the end of time. We'll find out. I hope I survive till the end of time. Number 1, Team Fortress 2. The oldest on our list, Team Fortress 2 highlights the importance of listening to modding communities for popular games and the unique relationship that said communities have with some of Valve's most popular products of all time. While Team Fortress 2 is itself a standalone game, originally released as part of the Orange Box bundle in 2007 for Microsoft PCs and the Xbox 360, the original Team Fortress was itself a mod of the 1996 game Quake. When the Orange Box bundle was ported over to PlayStation 3 later that same year, Team Fortress 2 became multi-platform. And not long after, it would be released as a standalone game in its own right on Windows PCs, before eventually being released on Mac OS and Linux as of 2013. The move to make the game a free-to-play filled with microtransactions available on Steam in 2011 was a game changer for the industry at large, and for the purposes of this list, a boon for not only its longevity but also its player numbers. Since Steam began to record active player bases in 2012, Team Fortress 2 has quite literally never had more concurrent players, having its peak of over 150,000 unique players as of June 2021. The game itself is a multiplayer first-person shooter, throwing players into one of 2 teams, selecting from a bank of 9 different character classes to challenge the opposition to games of Capture the Flag and King of the Hill. On top of that, Valve has regularly listened to its player base, releasing a number of different customization options for characters, keeping the game fresh and robust. Not only can players take control of match and level creation, but Valve hasn't been afraid to mix up the game entirely, releasing new patches for all of the 9 different playable characters. The true mark of a successful competitive game these days, however, is the mark it leaves on the professional gaming industry. With a multitude of professional leagues, including the $42,000 grand prize for the ESEA tournament in North America, you could most likely say that Team Fortress will continue to be a force in the industry, already 14 years after its release. I've been Sam from R-CADE Glasgow, and I've just brought you a wonderful list by a wonderful man. If you want to make sure that R-CADE Glasgow has the same longevity as some of these properties, make sure you join us over on Patreon at patreon.com/R-CADE Glasgow. Or if you just want to experience some of the oldest retro games for yourself, you can check out our web store, arcadeglasgow.com/store, where we sell a bunch of retro video game software, hardware, and modded consoles. Check it out, it's pretty cool. Andrew puts in a lot of work. We appreciate him just as much as we appreciate you. And with that, TTFN.